Happy New Year, everyone. My name's Keith Flemming, joined as always by my brother from another mother, Joe the Brain Matz. Joe, the new year has not started well as our NFL teams are winning when it doesn't really help them. For you, you're obviously losing drafts, status again. For
Right.
us, it just means Raheem Morris might come back. Yikes in both of
Right.
those. And then our cards teams also suffered defeats. So what the hell, man? I thought
Uh,
2026 was going to rock.
but the best part of last night was we didn't record last night because I wanted to watch the game. But if we had recorded, I would have missed the first half where Arizona
It's
got
on you.
outscored 24-0, and then I could have just watched the second half where they mounted a almost interesting comeback where they ultimately lost 24-19. So I could have avoided all the bad and only seen the good parts if we would have just recorded last night. But yeah, not the opening we were looking for, but hopefully we make some money this Sunday to make up for it.
Amen. So do you think this week is harder or week one?
Ooh. I think well, I think I'm gonna barely say week one because you have the ability to know.
What defenses are bad, et cetera, et
Well, yeah,
cetera.
well, like there's stuff we know, and then the things you're worried about, like teams not playing players. If you're paying attention, you should be able to know most of that too. So your options narrow down because some matchups that you'd be really excited about, like, hey, the Buffalo Bills are playing the Jets. Now you're like, I don't know if I want to put any Bills in my lineup. All right, so don't. There's other games where you can be sure the teams are not going to be resting guys, or if they are, that they've already announced it. Like the Giants Cowboys. Are the Giants benching some guys who are a little banged up because maybe they want to lose this game? Sure, but those guys, they're out. It's over. It's not. James Cook might play one quarter.
Right.
So yeah, I think you just have to, ear to the ground, make sure you're paying attention, make sure you don't get a surprise opt out, as happened to the Arizona with three of our safeties last night. But yeah, as long as you're paying attention, you should be able to avoid the ones that are going to burn you. And then we do still have, for everyone who is playing, we have a year's worth of information now.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm
I
with
would
you.
say week one.
All right. Do you want to talk Saturday games real quickly before we do the Sunday slate?
Yeah, sure.
So we got two good, games in the sense that both, well, I shouldn't say that. The Carolina Tampa game may
Well,
not.
that could go any direction.
Well, not only that, like the Falcons.
It might not matter. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
might
just.
be for nothing. We don't know.
Anyway, I don't want to go on another Falcons rant, but just most Atlanta thing ever that we control
It's
the
a tie
NFC
for the
South.
division
Like,
lead,
what
too.
the hell, man? I did a lineup. See what you see. I went with Purdy. I know Seattle's good. I just think Purdy's playing at another level. And he did pretty well against this same unit. Now, it was eternity ago, but week one, I think CMC and Charbonnet are the plays at back, the running back. If you want to go Walker, you can. I couldn't fit Walker because he's like a couple hundred more into this lineup because I literally spent every dollar. But the receivers, I went Jalen McMillan, who is once again reminding people he's pretty good. That's why I was really shocked that they drafted Igbuka because, like your boy, he's from Arizona, right? He's pretty good. I'm going to go double time with the McMillans. I'm taking Tet as well.
There you go.
And then I'm going to take Jalen Coker because I just think Tampa's secondary has been so bad that I want those two receivers because they particularly struggle on the outside, both of those big physical receivers, and go down the field. I have A.J. Barner. No surprise, JSN is in my flex. And then the Seattle. What do you think? Is that a decent lineup? What's your most concerning play there?
The I didn't miss anything, right? The Bucks are all their wide receivers healthy?
Yes.
Are we missing anyone? Okay,
No.
so that I mean, I guess McMillan's price point probably makes it worth it anyway.
He's like 4,500, I think.
That would be my one question there is just, you've got Agbuka, you got Godwin, you got Mike Evans. How much playing time does he actually see? But 4,500, maybe we're fine with that. I think I agree with you on the quarterback where I don't love it because it's like
he's 4,200, Joe, just to clarify.
42, so even better. Where, yeah, like I am concerned that Purdy is playing easily the best defense of the four quarterbacks.
That's what I was worried about too, but I just think I trust him the most of the four quarterbacks.
I mean, that's kind of where it is. Bryce Young has the best matchup, but the least amount of trust.
That's why I went with the two Panther receivers, right? As if Bryce ends up having a big game, I find it hard to believe that it's not going to be mostly Coker and McMillan. And at least that way it doesn't bury me, right? Like,
and then, I mean, you could say season on the line, bet on the Bucs offense because don't bet on the Bucs defense at this point. But I do think it seems pretty clear that Baker Mayfield's playing through some stuff right now.
Oh, dude. And Bill Simmons said on his podcast that it's going to be one of those deals that I promise you the minute Tampa's season's done, we're going to find out, he's playing with a separated shoulder and he needs to have surgery on his ankle. And just, there's going to be multiple things. If you saw Baker early this year and then the second half, he's definitely hurt.
And the other thing, too, is he's playing the second half with a healthy wide receiver core.
Yeah.
And in the first half, it was like, just got to throw to the rookie because everyone else is hurt. So, yeah, I agree. It still amazes me that the Browns, wins a playoff game with them. And, like, he wins the playoff game. They won that game like 40-something to 30-something over the Steelers. And then the next year he plays through like known injuries.
What's up, Horry?
Like, he's not good. Let's kick him out. You're like, okay.
Right?
It's a choice.
They almost beat the Chiefs, if I remember that same playoff.
It was close. Well, and then even Mahomes got knocked out.
Oh, that's right.
And there was like, is this going to be the big first down run? So, yeah, I feel pretty good about those picks. I guess what's Bookie Irving's price? Because he would be kind of the person that I'd be
he's
curious
60. About. What is he? He is 6,100. And like I said, I can't get JSN and CMC in the lineup playing another expensive back.
Yeah.
Unless I want to go really dumpster diving at the receivers.
Yeah. And I mean, I think if you're playing these two games, I mean, you can always try to be creative and go off your gut and whatever, but I mean, get CMC, get JSN. Go with the initial guys. They're the ones you want. You can play both of them. Your floor should be like 50 points with those two.
Right.
And obviously you're not getting anywhere close to that. In these two games, I mean, almost any two games, it's hard because those are running back one, receiver one or two. I don't actually know.
I think he's two, but yeah.
I think Puka, might have taken him. But yeah, you got to go with those two and then build out from there. So, I mean, maybe you can risk it and go with a cheaper quarterback to fit in a little bit more. But I like that lineup that you laid out there.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's just win some money today. All right. Let's go over the week 18. What a mess. I know you said that if you have your ear to the ground, you're right. Like if you really pay attention, you can get a good idea of what's going on, but that does not mean that there's not going to be some surprises. There always is. Yeah. The quarterback position this week for me, I think there's basically three guys that I'm really looking at.
Okay, I think I really have two that I'm super in on.
Is Drake May one of them?
Oh, I wasn't counting Drake May because I was just kind of like the higher price. But yes, if we're doing three, then yeah. If we're going up there, then we'll see. We might have the same three then, because obviously, I'm not going against Drake May. He's, I think it was like almost a year to today that I said I think it was our other pod at the time, but I thought he was the best quarterback from that class, and then this year he's been working super hard to prove me right.
They don't call you Joe the Brain for nothing. The other thing is, and if you want to go from a data perspective, the Dolphins are the worst team in the NFL, giving up passes inside the numbers, Drake May is the third best quarterback throwing inside the numbers.
Like that.
70, I think like 8% completion percentage. Again, the Patriots must win. My one concern is what if they get up big? Like, do they, take the foot off the gas? But he's so good and he's starting to run more, which I think I said this last week, that I think they have purposely not ran him a lot this year, and they are going to unleash him in the playoffs, like where he's going to be running. They're going to have design runs when they need it. And
it's going to be more of the Josh Allen.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, he's 7,100. So I'm having a hard time putting him in like my most expensive single entries, because obviously there's other positions that I'd like to spend. Who is your next quarterback then? Because let's see if we did get the same three.
So my next guy is Trevor Lawrence.
Hey, we're 2 for 2.
Because again, we want to make sure we're going with people who we know they need to win those games. And, the Patriots are, fingers crossed. They're rooting for the miracle to get that 1 seed still.
Not going to happen. Chargers resting their players.
Yeah, the Chargers kind of threw that away. But, the Patriots. And the other thing, too, is, Drake May's going for the MVP. And, obviously you don't want to factor that in more than trying to win the Super Bowl. But, we saw kind of the scenario last week that you're hoping for this week where, they absolutely blew the barn doors off the New York Jets. But they did that by Drake May. What was it? 5 touchdowns and 2 incompletions, and one of those was a blatant drop.
Stupid for not having him in any line. I was like, Keith, you idiot.
So maybe the fear is that karma is coming for like the Patriots based off of 2 of their better players back-to-back days being charged with crimes. So that's
just the norm around New England. Come on. It's a Tuesday.
As long as none of them is committing multiple murders, I guess it's not the worst it's ever been there. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence, even more so because they've got Houston breathing down their neck. If they lose this game, Houston wins, they lose the division. So they can't lose this game.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it's to me, like with New England, because they're playing the same time as Denver, right?
I believe
they have a big 1-4 slate, and you understand what they're doing is I think they tied together teams so that way you don't get this, right? Where say Denver plays early, then New England ends up playing nobody. I could see New England taking their foot off the gas to where, to your point with Jacksonville, they got to win.
You got to be sure.
They have to. Yep.
And obviously, we've been getting the best version of Trevor Lawrence over the last, really like 6 or 7 weeks here.
Yeah.
But the last 3 in particular, DK, he scored 47, 31, 24. Last week ended the streak of 5 straight games in which he threw for multiple passing touchdowns. So instead, he ran for 2. So we'll take that. And over the last 3 weeks, 8 passing touchdowns, which again is including a week where he didn't throw one, and 4 rushing touchdowns. So they're obviously they're in that mode because again, you're trying to win the division. You don't want to have to go on the road every single game. So they're in that Josh Allen, we're going to run Trevor when we need to mode.
Yep.
He's playing awesome. The Titans defense has not really ever played awesome this season, which, in fairness to their coaches, not a lot of talent on that defense.
I think their coach has done a tremendous job.
I think he has.
Cam Ward is much better than I thought he was. If you look at like his weapons and just the situation he's in every week. I just want to add for the T-Law thing.
You just had to fire the actual coach for things to look better. That
right.
was the key there.
I think that, he is just coaching matters, man. We're seeing it once again that Liam Cohen has unlocked Trevor early. It was, mixed returns, right? But there was a lot of stuff going on. They were trying to mix in Travis Hunter for whatever reason.
Right. That's the thing too, is they did all that stuff, all that huge trade value to get Travis Hunter, and then he gets hurt and the team's gotten better since then.
And again, I think that's Cohen.
Coaching, yeah.
I mean, he had 320+ fantasy point performances through the first 11 weeks. He's now scored 20+, 5 of his last 6. He's averaging almost 28 points per game over his last 6. And then what I like the most about him is you can stack him very reasonably. Jacoby Myers, you can stack him with Parker Washington. I think both of those guys are great options this week. The reason being the Titans are terrible against receivers in the slot. Guess where Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers line up about 40% of the time in the slot. So that's for me, like why I think ultimately I'm going to go with Lawrence, especially with, we'll get into the third guy in just a second, some news that came out from that team. But I feel very confident with Lawrence. And like I said, you could even double stack them if you really want to do it and play Myers and Washington. Or you could play, like Washington and Strange. Like there's options there. But again, Titans terrible versus receivers in the slot. And that has been, where Trevor's really been cooking is targeting Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, obviously if you're going Lawrence, you're at minimum putting one of those guys in.
Right.
I mean, Brenton Strange is also an option. So, yeah, again, this is a defense that only 5 teams have seen fewer pass attempts against. Because, again, Titans are usually losing, so you're running the ball more in the second half.
Right.
And, they're still 22nd on DK against quarterbacks. They're 29th in DVOA against the pass. Yeah, you've got...
It's not good.
Again, it's Lawrence playing the best football we've ever seen from him against a bad defense in a must-win game. This is exactly what we're looking for in week 18.
So the last guy for me is your boy. The Wan'Dale Robinson news.
Don't love it.
Makes me a little leery, but I actually think that it could be a good thing for your lineups because Slayton is then going to get more targets. This is a terrible Dallas secondary. And if you stack those two guys together, now you're really cooking. I think it's just over 10K to play that. And the main reason I want to play Dart is last week they were like, okay, you can play, just don't do anything crazy. Because he started running again, right? Like we had that 2-week period where he wasn't running at all. He averages 40 rushing yards per game, basically 7 carries. And Dallas is just so bad. And I expect Dallas to put up points. No offense, Joe, on your G-Man.
No, I mean, that's kind of what I'm rooting for.
And they're throwing, right?
I want a good Jackson Dart game that we lose. So
and Malik Davis is out. Has to mean Dallas is going to be even more pass heavy, I would think. I don't see a huge workload for Jay Blue. Like, obviously, he could get, he's a decent option too. He's in the 4K range. But what I'm saying is, I think Dak's going to be slinging it. And then we've seen it all year with Dart. We've been on the Dart train since early. And the best part about Dart is those games that he's down early, double digits. And man, in the second half, he'll sometimes go from having literally like 2 points to putting up, 25+. This is a guy that scored 23 points or more still in 6 of his last 9.
Yeah. I'm with you. That is my third quarterback as well, where, again, the price point is good. Like you said, obviously we saw a couple of rough weeks there for Dart, but, the Minnesota defense and the Dallas defense
Brian Flores
are not the same
was licking his chops going, oh, this guy without Malik Nate, you know what I mean? No Scatterboo, like, let's go.
I don't think Brian Flores ever needs extra motivation, but if he did, facing one of the teams he's suing for discrimination probably didn't hurt his motivation that week. Which for me is a bummer. Like, it's a bummer for multiple reasons, but also I'm like, man, I would be really interested in potentially hiring Brian Flores to be the new coach of the Giants. I think there's a 0% chance because
I want the Falcons to get rid of Raheem and get Brian Flores.
But again, way different defense. Dallas, horrific. Pretty much this entire season.
Released Diggs for reasons are still unclear.
Yeah, I know. It is an odd time to release a guy in a lost season with 1 week left. I don't totally get it either. But, and to your point, we wish we had Wan'Dale because that kind of makes it easy. and Theo Johnson is also out. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the other one you could go.
You like Bellinger this week with that?
I don't like Bellinger so much just because tight end hasn't really been the weak spot of the Dallas defense.
Right.
Where if I'm going crazy value in this game, I'd go Isaiah Hodgins at 3,100.
Ooh, remember Hodges last year? That's a name I hadn't heard in a minute.
Because he's back on he had a couple decent weeks. I think it was week 11 and 12 this year. And not the most potent passing offense in general, and he's a little lower on the depth chart, but you move Wandell out of the lineup, Hodgins is going to get probably the majority of those slot snaps, I would think.
Yep.
So I think there's the chance that you get like 14 points from a guy who cost you 3,100 with
Isaiah. Love that. I'm gonna write that down. So that's it basically for QBs. Running backs. Yeah. I can't sit Bijan. I just can't. He is, to me, the lock of all locks. I know he only scored 14 points against the Saints, when they first played, but I mean, come on, man. He has, over his last 3 games, scored 103 points on DraftKings, scoring 4 touchdowns, having 208 receiving yards and 364 rushing yards. The Falcons also have proved the last 2 years they will lean on the run when they get up and, are kind of controlling a game. And I think the Chris Olave being out means our defense has a chance to look really good this week. Tyler Shuck has been much better than I expected. Just like I was wrong. Dude's good. Like he's a good player. I'm really mad that the Saints now have a quarterback moving forward. We don't, and we drafted one in the top 10 and paid $100 million, but whatever. But I can't sit Bijan. He's like the lock for me. He's the only expensive guy that is in every one of my lineups. I'm only going to play one expensive back this week because there's a lot of great values with the situation that we got going on, obviously, of, teams resting players, tanking. You could have made a case to me for Chase Brown, but that's the only other guy really that's expensive that I really like this week. Are you all in on Bijan too, or what do you think?
I am as well. I mean, again, this is one where, if the Bills were, in contention to win the division still, and we knew James Cook was going the whole game, then I might actually just have opted for Cook and said, what, I'll save the 800. It's the Jets. Let's go. But yeah, I'm getting James Cook for maybe a half. He could do really well in that half.
He went 100 against the Browns. What was that, 2 weeks ago and a half? But I don't, that's gambling.
It's totally possible he'll score 25 points in the half, and then you'll be like, fine, you can rest him the second half. We're okay. But I'm with you. Bijan is, obviously playing the best football he's ever played.
Yep.
I mean, the biggest issue with Bijan the first couple of years was like he's never had a run over 40 yards. What's up with that?
That's not an issue anymore.
Not been a problem this year, especially not last week. So, and in a really contentious, who's the All-Pro running back this year?
Oh, it's crazy.
Like, obviously, you look at the yards per carry, you're like, well, it's that's not that great for McCaffrey, but if you just look at like first downs generated, he's
almost
like
got 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000.
Yeah,
receiving
he's like 25 first downs generated ahead of anyone else. Like he's been the constant in an offense that otherwise everyone else outside the line has been hurt.
Yep.
And then Taylor, people I think somewhat foolishly, but still people were talking about him for MVP for the first half of the season.
Right.
And it's not like he sucks now. It's like he's still really good. But I think Bijan probably moved into the pole position last week. So
James Cook also deserves to be in that conversation.
It's been a good running back here. So yes, but you probably know that if you're, if you just won your fantasy championship, I'm betting probably had one of these top running backs. So yeah, I'm with you.
Dion can let us know. He won one.
I'm with you. When I looked through, the lineups for this week, the other really expensive guy maybe you could talk me into is Puka, just because I think it sounds like the Rams are still going to go all in on their starters, but at the same time, at any point that could change.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that still feels a little risky, even though, again, that's another game against the Cardinals where he could also score like 30 points and a half. But yeah, to me, Bijan is also cheaper than Puka. We know he's going. It's not a great defense.
He's been great at home too.
Yeah, he's been incredible. But he's the guy I'm building the rest of the lineup around.
I'm with you. Can I tell you my favorite back this week?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tank freaking Bigsby, man. I am so
okay.
excited. Again, make sure there's some people that believe he could potentially be rested with the starters. I think that would be insane. See what you got, right? Like you obviously traded for this guy, but he's been so effective this season. 10% explosive run rate, 3.19 yards after contact per rush attempt, making defenders miss on 28% of his rush attempts. And in case you didn't know, Washington's defense, they're very bad versus the run, particularly since week 13. They've allowed the most rushing yards, the highest success rate to opposing rushers, and the 7th highest missed tackle rate. I think Bigsby's a slam dunk. I think he's got a chance to go nuclear. And I don't know if a lot of people are going to be there like I am. I think Saquon, if you've watched Bigsby when he's came in the game behind the same offensive line, same everything, he's looked more effective. I understand you can't, spell Saquon Barkley. He's Saquon Barkley, but Bigsby looks incredible in this offense. They are going to be starting their offensive line. Tanner McKee has proved he's a competent quarterback. Like if you look at the Eagles when he's played, you might could even argue he's more accurate and like a better pure thrower than Jalen Hurts. I think that Bigsby is going to go ham on these, Washington Commanders, who really, what are they playing for at this point? I think he's my favorite other play. And he is the second most expensive running back that I have in lineups this week. Because again, there's just so much value this week where you can go cheap, allow you to spend at receiver and, elsewhere. Oh, I think I broke Joe. There he is. Hey, buddy. That's weird.
My computer just was like, goodbye to all your tabs. And then I just clicked back on the internet tab or the internet button, and then they all pop back up. So who knows what happened there? But I like the Bigsby pitch, though. I think that's, and again, it's like when you start resting guys, how many guys are you going to rest? Like you still have to have a team out there. So I do like that play.
Aaron thinks that he said, I'm going to pour a little cold water on your excitement. And I need that, Aaron. So I appreciate you.
No, yeah, we want feedback if we're wrong.
He said they had two okay games versus Washington Giants. I just think he's going to be the feature back, which, that, and that's what Aaron's saying right here. If he gets the full load, sure. I mean, well, I think that he will. I really do. I think they want to kick the tires on this because they're thinking this is what the Eagles do. What is going to be the plan when Barkley is gone? And I believe Bigsby only has 1 year left.
Well, I believe they extended Barkley this year, which
we know that doesn't really mean anything, though.
True, but anytime you can extend a running back after a 400 touch season, you got to do it. So hats off to Howie Roseman on that one. I got to take my shots at the Eagles when I can, since obviously it's the best team, best run team in the division.
Probably in the league.
And the other thing is, if his two good games were Washington and the Giants, which obviously, hey, any running back against the Giants, but who's he playing this week? He's playing Washington.
Yeah.
So, obviously, yeah, if he ends up with 8 carries, it's not going to work out great. But yeah, if he's the lead back, I think we're going to feel pretty good there.
Where are you going?
I'm kind of looking at one team and then another game between two teams. So the one team would be New England against Miami. Right. Is just looking at those backs. I don't know if people remember, but one of the big pitches for Drake May in the first half of the season as like an MVP candidate was this team could not run the ball. They were really bad. And that's changed over the second half of the season.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you give Travion Henderson, who is a much more talented running back than Ramondre Stevenson, the ball.
So, I mean, yeah, obviously Travion, that Baltimore game was just complete disaster. But otherwise, if we take that game out, he has 6 prior to last week, which again, 19 for 82 last week. He doesn't get a touchdown because Drake May was just on a heater and every single
He's trying to win
touchdown
the
was
MVP
his.
in May's defense.
Yeah, but 82 yards last week, and then the Baltimore game the week before was terrible. But prior to that, you had 6 straight weeks of double digits, 3 30-point games in that time.
Oh, well. Yep.
So, and again, Miami's defense, bad against the pass, bad against the run, bad defense. So Travion is interesting. I think also you got to say Ramondre is interesting. 4 straight double-digit games.
You lost me at Ramondre. I can't trust him. I can't.
I mean, again, 4 straight double-digit games. He has 13 receptions in that time. And again, it's not like, oh, we need it to be a pass-heavy, blah, blah, blah. Again, last week, they rolled the Jets 42-10, and most of those points were in the first half. He had 5 receptions for 55 yards and a touchdown. So if you need to go cheaper, I think Ramondre is an interesting one because they are still utilizing him. 5,600.
See, I would much rather play Jordan Mason for 400 less. Obviously, he's going to get volume, which we know that Jordan Mason, historically, if he's not getting a lot of touches, he's not that effective. He's kind of one of those bruising backs that over time wears down the defense.
Absolutely.
And I just want to let people know this is not the Green Bay run defense that it was earlier this season. Since week 13, they've allowed the 2nd most rushing yards and the 8th most yards after contact. I think Mason has a chance to have a really big game. Because remember, Green Bay is starting Clayton Tune. Okay. So I don't think Green Bay
is you don't think they're going to light it up?
Right. And I think you're going to see a lot of handing it to the back. And that back's going to be Jordan Mason because Aaron Jones has been ruled out.
No, that
Aaron, I will get to the gentleman you just said in the chat. Trust me, that's my other play this week. Because like right now I have 4 backs that I'm playing. It's Bijan, Bigsby, Jordan Mason, and then Jaden Blue is the other one. Which I'm with Aaron. Like it's so rare you get a running back at 4,300 playing a defense, which again, earmuffs, Joe, sorry.
Oh, no.
Is so bad versus the run. Like they almost allow 6 yards per carry. And we're now at a point where they've played 16 games. Like it's hard to believe that yards per carry is still that high. Now, again, it has not been great for him. I think he only has like 60 yards on 22 carries or something, but what an opportunity. And he's so cheap. Like if you look at other players in this price range, forget the position, where are you going to get this kind of value? And I especially in volume. So I've been putting him in the flex in a lot of lineups. I just think that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You're again, throwing somebody in very cheap, and then I can still play Bijan and Bigsby or Bijan and Mason. I think that makes a lot of sense. But those are really the only 4 backs I'm playing this week. And, like Bijan, obviously some carries will go to Algier, but he's going to get most of the volume. I believe Tank Bigsby is going to get most of the volume. Obviously, again, keep your ear to the ground. I'm going to continue to look to see, how do they plan to divvy it up. But the other 2, Jordan Mason and Jaden Blue, we know they are getting a majority of the carries because Aaron Jones is out. Malik Davis out. Javonte Williams out. Who else the Cowboys going to call? So it's a great call, Aaron.
Yeah, obviously, all in on the Jaden Blue train. Cowboys 9th in PFF run blocking grade, 4th in adjusted line yards per FTN. Giants, dead last in PFF run defense grade. That shouldn't be a surprise, like you said, giving up nearly 6 yards per carry. So, fire up Jaden Blue. It seems like every other running back on the team they've ruled out. So, we're not worried that it's going to be the 8 or 9 carry game. And then the other guy I would throw in from that game is I think Tyrone Tracy is an interesting play.
Lean on him a little bit more with Robinson being out. Maybe see some more volume.
Right, because 7 straight games with at least 10 carries. So even though Singletary still mixes in and regrettably seems to mix in more in the red zone.
Oh no, he's definitely the inside 5 guy.
Tracy is the lead guy overall. And yeah, Cowboys 30th in yards allowed in the passing game to running backs. So
I like that stat.
you remove Wan'Dale Robinson again. I say this probably every single time I put
So
Tracy
you
in the
could
lineup.
stack
Wide
if
receiver
you're
in
gonna play dark,
college
you
for
could
most of his
stack them
career.
with Tracy, couldn't you? Wouldn't that make
You
sense?
could. I don't think that would be a bad play either. Because yeah, if Tracy has a big game, I'm assuming some of it's going to come through the pass game. But yeah, I think Jaden Blue, like we said, he and Bijan, you lock those two in, and then like you said, because of Blue's price tag, that does make it a lot easier for us to get a third running back in there and go with Blue at the flex. So yeah, we're very much agreed. You put those two in, and then if you want, you can find one of those other guys in the mid tier that you like.
Love it. All right, wide receivers this week. I wanted to play Puka. I really did, but again, I'm playing Bijan, which basically
It makes
that's
it hard.
it, right? Like you
Or
can
bargain hunting everywhere else if you do it.
yeah,
If
put
you do
it
that.
in. But I also just think like Lamb and Nico are the first two receivers I want to talk about. Lamb, again, Javante's out, Davis is out. I just think that means they're going to throw it more. Lamb has historically torched the Giants, including when they played earlier this year. But I like Nico Collins even more.
Yeah.
I just 7K. India's bottom 5 against wide receivers across the board, receptions, receiving yards, like you name it. And Collins in the first matchup targeted 10 times, caught 5 passes, 98 yards. And the big one for me, Indy is terrible versus perimeter receivers, which Nico Collins might be, the best, if not for Puka Nacua, who's gotten very good on the outside as well. But, and, JSN, they're 4th in yards allowed to perimeter receivers. So, and Houston is another team. We talked about this with the quarterbacks. They need to win. Like they're going to play to win. And I think Stroud's looking a lot better. Like Stroud continues to improve. I've been saying this for a month. I think Houston is the most dangerous team left that nobody's talking about. They could really win the Super Bowl because their defense is so elite. They have an unbelievable player in Nico Collins, and they've gotten to where they can run it a little bit with several different guys. I think people are sleeping on him, but I love Nico Collins at 7K. Like to me, that is, and we've seen him have monster games. I think it's very likely. Again, he had 5 catches for 98 yards in the first one.
The only bit of hot or cold water that I would throw on this, and I don't know that it matters because we're talking about the Texans, where Nico Collins is so clearly above everyone else in that passing game, where I think it's more likely we see a similar game to last time where, like you said, he got 2 yards away from the 3-point bonus.
Right.
But I do always like to remind people the Colts defense this year, 9th in yards allowed to opposing number 1s per FTN, and dead last against number 2 and number 3s. Now, if Sauce Gardner was playing,
that's what I was going to say.
I think that would get me
in that category. If I remember, earlier, I don't know, even 4 or 5 weeks ago, they were near the top.
Yeah, I think they were
first and against number 1 wide receivers. And they've had some guys in recent weeks. Number 1s have good games, but again, dead last is
So
who is the guy though? Who would that be to you? Is that Higgins? Is that
if I had to throw someone in there from Houston, and I do think they become interesting because of that stat, I think it would be Higgins. Just he seems to have the most clear-cut role of the guys outside of Nico. That's why he would be the guy for me. And I believe he's 4,500. So that's good price. Certainly someone that I'm considering in that range. My highest guy, because again, I'm trying to save money because I just spent 8,700 in running back. Although with Jane Blue, I think you have a little more room to remove.
Oh, wait till I go tight end. You're gonna have even more money to do some stuff.
So certainly, I am not going to try to talk anyone out of CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I mean, the only hard part there is choosing the right one, and maybe they're both right. I think the line in this game is 56 points when I looked earlier.
Holy cow!
So, yeah, the people expect a lot of points, which has tended to work out well in Dallas games if you've made that assumption. But I'm going Michael Wilson at 6,600. The Jacoby Brissett train finally stalled out a little bit the last couple of weeks.
Is
But
Harrison
the
Jr.
Michael
playing?
Wilson one has not. He is not playing.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, Joe. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, he is on IR now. So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, too, with Michael Wilson is even with Harrison back, I believe the last 3 weeks,
He played at least some snaps.
Wilson's got a touchdown in 4 straight games now. He has 5 touchdowns over the last 4. And that's with, again, Jacoby not playing as well. It's with Marvin Harrison being out there for most of this time period. And he had 3 targets against your
Is this
Atlanta
an
Falcons,
indictment on Kyler Murray, Joe? Because I can
No,
never
it's not like
remember
they're
a
winning
guy.
games either. So
No, but I'm saying I never remember a receiver being on the field because Michael Wilson. We talked about him since his rookie year, like that. I think it used to be a zone man split. I don't remember which way. Where like he was very good.
Yeah,
versus
he
one
used
and
to
very
be a
bad
split guy. Yeah,
and now he's like looks like one of the best receivers in the league. And I can't remember a guy who was on the field that much and rarely had like monster games. Now again, he looks like freaking Jerry Rice most weeks.
Yeah, I mean, his season totals right now are 73 catches, 907 yards, 6 touchdowns. Prior to their bye week in week 8, the first 7 games of the year, he had 15 catches. He had 1 touchdown. He didn't have a single game where he'd broken 50 yards. And then, yeah, obviously that's changed drastically. Again, your Falcons, outside of the 1 touchdown, he got his 52 yards. That's kind of the one game where he didn't see the ball a lot. Mm-hmm. But outside 7 of 8 games, 7 targets. Marvin Harrison's out. The Rams defense, good defense overall. Not one that locks down opposing wide receivers. 24th on DK. And then obviously with Arizona, you're always thinking tight end. They've been a little bit better against tight ends. They're 14th there. And also McBride's 7,500. I'd rather take Michael Wilson and save myself $900.
No, that's a great call.
He's the guy I'm really looking at. Now, maybe I can fit in another one. If we do go super cheap at tight end, we've got Jaden Blue in there. There are options, but yeah, he's the one where I'm throwing him in almost every lineup.
I love that. I'm going to have to update my cash game cheat sheet and put him in there. Wonderful call, Joe. There is 3 other receivers, all in the 5K range that I'm cool with playing this week. One of them is Terry McLaurin. I get on paper, looks like a terrible matchup. But remember, the Eagles are resting players. I don't expect them to play their lockdown corners. And with Josh Johnson, first start, 30% target share for McLaurin, 63 receiving yards, 3 yards per route run. I think that's interesting. And again, I think the Eagles are going to still score points. Burden, if Adunze misses another game, like just lock for me in cash lineups. Last 3 games without Adunze, 22 targets, 18 receptions, 289 yards, 56 points on DK. That is 18.7 per game. And then again, Parker Washington being the slot receiver, 40% of the times, he's seeing almost a 30% first read target share and a target rate of 28% in the last 2 games, 130 receiving yards, almost 4 yards per route run. The big thing for me, he's been targeted in the red zone 4 times. And the Titans, again, allow the 3rd most points to slot wide receivers. I think there's so much value in that range. I am going to play Michael Wilson, though. I'm an idiot. I did not know about the Harrison stuff. What did we say? Like 6-7 weeks ago? Harrison's out.
You throw him in there.
You throw him in there. So that's going to be an adjustment. But I feel good. Like, especially, like, I probably will not play any of those expensive guys that I was talking about. Even Nico Collins. Like, when you can get Michael Wilson for that price, that'll allow me for other stuff. Aaron, yes, I was going to actually say we do concentrate on cash, but absolutely, I think Dotson is a great play in like MME contests because, again, we don't think we're going to see any of Devontae Smith or AJ Brown, and Tanner McGee has been great. Jamar Chase is always a good option. He's just so expensive.
And it's a tough matchup.
Yeah. He had his, I think, worst game of the year versus Cleveland.
And obviously,
Burrow.
that was week 1, so it's the furthest away it could be. But yeah, that was like you just said, it was with Burrow. That was, the full complement of everyone's healthy. And it's that's not a one-off. Cleveland's been very good against wide receivers all season. And I don't think the Bengals will do this, especially because it feels antithetical to who Joe Burrow is. But on the off chance they decide that they also do not want Myles Garrett to break the record, maybe we'll see a bunch of dink and dunk quick passes or just immediate
Well, don't
shots
forget the
without looking down the field.
Browns
But
have gone from they were
I don't think that'll
first
happen.
in DVOA versus the run through week 8. They have now given up consecutive games, 100 rushing yards to one running back in the first half. Running backs are averaging like 25 points per game versus them since week 9. I can't ever remember a defense that was like the clear-cut best run defense in the league, and now they're getting ran over all the time when they haven't had any injuries that should have allowed that kind of change.
I mean, I do always think that sometimes we see these defenses that are very good, and then eventually it's like it's the 4th month of the year, and your offense is still just
that is fair.
Burning
they have
pile of
watched
trash.
They're like, what are we doing here?
Like I don't know if you remember that the Broncos defense from a few years back when it was Russell Wilson's first year.
Oh, that's right. No, I do.
I'm blanking on that coach's name. The horrible head coach who was like the worst of the nepo baby head coaches ever. And that defense was balling out for like the first 12 weeks, and then like week 15, the Dolphins scored like 60 points.
They were like, because
it was like, we can't put in the effort, and I think that's part of it too. Is obviously, run defense it's discipline, it's putting in consistent effort, snap after snap, and that's harder to do. It gets cold, obviously, in Cleveland and Cincinnati. Your offense is making you depressed.
Well, and they're playing from behind, to your point.
Yeah, you're probably on the. I assume I haven't like checked the time of possession of Cleveland games, but I assume it's usually negative. So you're on the field a lot. I'm not going to fault them too much for falling off there. But yeah, exactly. Where Cleveland, that pass defense has remained pretty good. The run defense is where they've started to falter. So that with the price tag is why I think neither of us is big on Jamar. I'm with you obviously on Parker Washington, and really it's.
Let's see if Joe comes back. He is frozen in time right now. Yep, he's frozen. It's so funny how this happens to Joe. And it's always when he's making, there he is. He's back. So weird that you're still in the other screen. Like it still shows that you're out.
Oh, what is happening? Because it's like I just get the little circle of like the computer is trying too hard right now, and then everything disappears, and I click on it, and it brings me back immediately. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I think you got to have one of those receivers in there, whether it's Washington or Myers. Brian Thomas, I don't want to deal with it. There's always a chance, but
I'm with you.
And I believe he has the tougher corner matchup as well. So to me, put one of those two other Jags receivers in there and let it ride. Because again, I would be surprised if Trevor.
Where are you at on Burden?
Burden, I'm with you. If Adunze is out, I think we can probably afford to do a Burden like Parker Washington, Michael Wilson lineup with everything else we have going on. So
when I give you my only tight end I'm playing this week, you can.
Okay. Because absolutely. I mean, again, all the per snap stuff. I know, I think Collinsworth talked about it on the broadcast last week. Like his production is elite for a rookie wide receiver, and actually, it's per snap. I think it's pretty much elite for any wide receiver.
He's a monster. Like he's so big and fast. Like I was like, holy cow! They really have given Caleb some options because I've also. Loveland is another one that I know everybody was so high on Warren early. Loveland looks pretty freaking good.
The Bears are one of those teams where if you only looked at like the numbers of, what's their point differential, what's their record in one-score games, you'd be like, next year, this is the drop-off team. This is the team. They lose 4 or 5 more games. They probably don't make the playoffs. But you're going to be year 2 with Ben Johnson, so Caleb's more comfortable in the offense. You've got Loveland and Burden, who won't be rookies anymore.
Dunze, could end up, taking a leap. Like it looked like he was going to do that before he got hurt.
And because you're still on the Caleb Williams rookie contract, you did all the investing you need to on offense. Like I don't know exactly what the DJ Moore situation is. I believe he's still back next year. Like all the investment will go to fix that defense this offseason, whether it's the draft or free agency. So, I mean, Bears fans, I don't want to jinx you guys because obviously it's been few and far between good seasons, but yeah, feel great right now.
I'm
awesome.
Rooting for him.
Enjoy this. Really I'm with you. The Burden one makes sense.
Only if a Dunze doesn't play does he come like a lock, right? Though.
Yeah, I'm probably. Oh, my computer's going to do it again. I can tell. Every time I click on the DraftKings thing, it's like.
Well, quit clicking on the DraftKings thing, Joe. Just ask me. And he is right. Wow, that is nuts. Joe's computer, apparently he needs to pay it more, get it some help. I'm not sure what is going on. It's so funny, man. This is wild. Quit touching DraftKings, Joe. Ask me and I'll get you
it up on my laptop, my phone, so that
Cody wants to know who's the best value for the money this week, Coker or Judy. For me, it's Coker.
Yes.
Again,
agreed.
like Tampa has been so bad versus perimeter wide receivers. I know he had a so-so game last time they played him, but remember McMillan had a huge one. And actually Bryce missed Coker on 2 big shots. One of them would have been a touchdown where he just overthrew him when he burnt Tampa's secondary. So, yeah, go ahead, buddy.
So, yeah, again, bargain plays for me. I mean, pick a Giants wide receiver, Slate or Hodgins.
I do like the Hodges call. I may have to.
Again,
maybe I will have a Puka Bijan.
Yeah, get that. I was going to say, if you do whatever the tight end move is, we got Jaden Blue, you throw in a $3,100 wide receiver, you can do a lot of things. And then I always want to discuss it, even though I know your answer already. Is there any interest, because the Packers are going to be resting guys, on Justin Jefferson at 50?
Joe, get out of here. I tried to tell you last time he had a crap game. I know he needs like 54 yards for 1,000, which I'm sure they're going to.
It's a good matchup, obviously. And
I mean, it is.
He's still talented.
I don't get it, man. Like, for whatever reason, him and McCarthy have not meshed, because McCarthy has looked better since he's came back.
I know, even when he's played better, it hasn't transferred. My thing is, though, is like if he's playing better, now he's playing backups. It's like at some point, I mean, we're running out of time.
MME, sure, Joe. I cannot suggest that for cash. All right, let's do tight end.
That's fair.
I got one guy. That's it.
Hit me with your one guy.
Greg Dulcich, man. Greg Dulcich. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's true.
Darren Waller, he's on IR. We have seen what Dolphins tight ends have done. Geno Smith last year, Darren Waller, and now it looks like Dulcich is the latest. This is a guy that I know me and you both were very high on when he came in.
I think he was like my number 2 tight end in that draft, if I remember right.
Last week, Waller exited pretty early. Dulcich went on to see his highest target number of the year, 6, tying his highest reception totals in 5. And he had his highest receiving yardage total of 58, plus scoring his first touchdown of the season. Why am I blank? Quinn Ewers, by the way, has been targeting tight ends on 30% of his pass attempts.
He's been better than I thought he would be, too. I mean, he looked good last week.
I'm telling you, for 2,600 in a game, they're going to be down and throwing. And by the way, tight ends is really one of New England's few weaknesses on defense. They really struggle with them.
100%.
He's in 100% of my lineups. And it's like, let's move on. I feel that good about it at that price. I do. Like, I think it's way more of a game.
I think that's fair.
Juwan Johnson volume, but the Falcons have been really good versus tight ends. They like shut down McBride, for God's sakes. I don't want to pay that for McBride. Like, you could make cases for other people, but 2,600 for a guy that I'm comfortable is going to get 5 to 7 targets. Like, you can't beat that, in my opinion.
No, I think you're right. I mean, you talked me into he's in every lineup, and it's just, do I go double tight end?
Right. Because who's the guys you got then?
I mean, I think Hunter Henry, obviously, you got to look at Miami. I mean, that's the horrible tight end defense game with Miami and New England. Henry, obviously, we've seen him be pretty productive this season, unsurprisingly. Solid tight end playing with the arguable MVP. 4 of his last 5 games are double digit. And again, it's not like he was playing Miami in every one of those games. I already mentioned Brenton Strange. I like him this week against Tennessee. I like every Jags guy, give or take Ryan Thomas against Tennessee, which is, again, what
even ETN.
It's gonna be. That's an interesting one. Yeah, you could talk me into ETN. I think we laid out our running back strategy, so I don't think he's going to be in any of my lineups. But it wouldn't surprise me if he had a good game.
Okay, I was just curious.
I mean, Colby Parkinson with I don't think people give Sean McVay enough credit for this. Is like the coach who was addicted to 11 personnel. It's like 90 whatever percent every single year. It's like it's 3 wide. It's 3 wide.
Yep.
And then halfway through the season, he's like, what if we just threw all the tight ends on the field?
Well, in his defense, though, when you can roll out 2 receivers that are Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, probably a lot easier to make that decision. Because, right, like your blocking gets better with the extra tight end out there. I mean, I know what you're saying. I'm giving them credit. I'm just saying I think that the team that they have right now, it makes so much sense.
I mean, yeah, to me, it's just such an impressive thing because always, too, the McVay problem, I don't remember if it was as stark last year as it had been his first 5 or 6 years in the league. It was always the offense started out amazing. It's kind of like the Mike McDaniel thing that we've seen, where the offense starts out amazing and then teams adjust to whatever he's been doing. And the offense doesn't go in the shitter. It's like he's still a good coach with talented players, but it stops being dominant. And this year that hasn't really happened with any consistency because he switched strategies halfway through the season.
Yep.
And obviously, there's been other tight ends involved because, you're playing 2 or 3 of them. But Parkinson's been very productive in that Arizona defense. I mean, it's just generally been bad. But
everybody thought Ferguson was going to be that tight end. And to your point, Parkinson has been the guy that's really turned heads. And then they really like Ferguson still. They were talking about that on the Monday night game.
And the last 2 guys I would mention, again, Daniel Bellinger, he's all the way down at 2,900. Although, again, Dallas, dead last against receivers, 10th against tight ends. So that's why I like the save money on Hodgins play over Daniel Bellinger.
I agree.
And then Michael Mayer, because,
you talked about this.
Kansas City is good against tight ends, but we saw last week, what are you going to do if you're the Raiders right now? Jacoby Myers is gone. So, it's Trey Harris, or is that even the right guy that I'm naming?
Trey Tucker.
Trey Tucker, yeah. So it's like Trey Tucker's the wide receiver. Brock Bowers is gone. So they were just like, you know what? If Brock Bowers is gone, it doesn't matter. We're going to do the same stuff.
They're like, we got to get Brock Bowers a quarterback next year. So we are tanking, ladies and gentlemen.
So
Max Crosby's
Fernando Mendoza, enjoy throwing to Brock Bowers next year. And hopefully running whoever's the coach, whether it's Pete Carroll or not.
Rumor is he's going to be fired. One and done.
Which is brutal for Pete Carroll. I get it. There's never a situation where your team wins 2 games and I'm like, can't believe they're firing this coach.
Right.
But with Pete Carroll, it feels a little bit rough.
Yeah.
But whoever the coach is, take a play out of the McVay's playbook this second half of the season. Why can't you feature 2 tight ends at once, Raiders? How hard is this? The Patriots did it 12 years ago. And Brock Bowers is every bit as talented as an Aaron Hernandez. And he can't block like Rob Gronkowski, but he can catch like him.
Yep.
And Michael Mayer is a good all-around tight end. He improves your run blocking by being out there. He improves your pass catching. You just have to use him. Like they did last week against the Giants. 9 catches on 10 targets, 89 yards. So, there's some really interesting double tight ends.
And how much is he?
He's 3,500.
So
you could do the Meyer Dulcich. That's going to cost you 6,100. Throw in Jaden Blue at 4,300, and actually the Puka Bijan combo becomes very possible.
And Aaron asked, "What about Chig?" Aaron, I do a DFS main slate preview every week for Fantasy Six Pack. It's at fantasysixpack.net. I mentioned Chig in that because Gunnar Helm is out.
Yeah.
Obviously, you would assume he's going to see huge volume. I expect Jacksonville up. I just, again, for cash, I feel very good about Dulcich, and he's 2,600. Like, he's just so much cheaper. I'm shocked at his price because Darren Waller, like, they pretty much knew after the game he was not going to play. His price didn't go up at all. I think that's because nobody's playing him. I played him last week, and I'm playing him again this week. All right, let's do defenses.
I will say, yeah, I like that combo as well, where that's even $100 cheaper than Meyer. So to me, it's like throw in Dulcich and then pick a tight end that you want to throw in with him and see what you can do.
I'd still rather play Dulcich in blue, but that's okay. We got for the defenses, because I have gone so cheap, I have money at tight end, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I really want to find a way to play either the Texans or Broncos.
Sure.
The Broncos, you have a Chargers team that is resting their starters behind an awful O-line against the best pass rush in the NFL. If they don't get 6-7 sacks, even on Trey Lance, I will be shocked. So there's one. The Texans get Riley Leonard are playing for something. It could get ugly. So, like, I think if you can find the money, like, play those two teams. If 100%. Not, I'm looking at the Vikings and the Falcons. Again, the Atlanta, now that New Orleans doesn't have Chris Olave, I think that's going to really limit what New Orleans offense can do. And with the Vikings, Clayton Tune, man. Clayton Tune versus Brian Flores. We talked about how Flores did such a great job earlier versus another, right? Like, rookie quarterback just thrown to the wolves. Clayton Tune, I know, is not a rookie, but Flores is probably like laughing somewhere in a dark room watching video. Yeah, getting ready to go.
Yeah, I'm with you. Obviously, yeah, if you have the money at the end, please, take this rare opportunity to spend up on defense in insane matchups. I kind of like, if you need to go cheap, the Falcons Saints matchup overall. I know Bijan scares me a lot if I'm playing the Saints defense, but there's a defense that's been playing better as of late. Obviously, they've had some easy matchups to build up on, but New Orleans scored 11 points last time they played Atlanta. Part of that was a touchdown, but even then, that means they were playing okay, and they only cost you 2,500. So I think there's some interest there, and
or 2,800. Are you talking about the Saints? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying the Saints. That if you needed to go cheaper, I kind of think that might be the defense that I would be looking at.
How are you gonna hurt me like that, Joe?
Like, because when you go really cheap.
No, it's bad. Like I tried to find a way to go down like 400 cheaper, and I was like, no way.
You could risk like a Washington just because you're not going to face the Eagles starters.
Sure.
So if you had to go incredibly cheap, and it's the same thing with the Raiders, where it's like Washington and the Raiders are not good defenses by any stretch, but when you consider what you're facing.
I'd feel a lot better if Max Crosby was playing.
Yeah,
he is like literally the Raiders defense.
And the other thing is, the Browns against the Bengals, Joe Burrow does like to take sacks. The Browns like to get sacks. There's always, you might give up 28 points, but you get 5 sacks, and it kind of works out okay. So there are options if you need to go super cheap. But like you said, if we can scrape up the cash. Falcons with no Olave, Vikings against backups, or if you actually have 4K left or 3,800, whatever it is, take an elite defense and enjoy it for 1 week.
There is one player I forgot to mention, and that is Courtland Sutton. Again, Chargers resting players,
right?
And Sutton has feasted versus zone-heavy teams. He's one of the few wide receivers in the NFL that almost all of his numbers go up considerably versus zone compared to man. Chargers run zone, I think, at either the highest or top 3 highest rates in the NFL. That was the other stack I was considering was Bo Nix with Courtland Sutton, because Nix has been pretty solid at 20 points, for the last couple of months. and he's 6,000. So I mean, again, for
Not
our
bad.
3x rule, it's not too bad. So anything else you want to say, Joseph, before we get out of here? But we did Joe, again, an hour and 4 minutes. Look at us.
Coming in solid right here. My message would just be to Mara and Tish. Just gotta say, guys, listen, I don't ever feel good about advocating for people to lose their jobs, but if you win 6 games over 2 years and it's not the first 2 years that you took over, you should probably move on from your GM. That's what I would say. And I saw some poll that someone I follow did, or like, should the Giants fire Joe Shane? And I didn't see it at the end. It'd only been up for a few hours, but it was like 95% yes. So it's like, I don't know, read the room a little bit. Like, I don't want organizations to just cave to whatever their fans think. But if it's 95% of your fans, it's probably the right choice. So
Don't become
crowds,
Jerry Jones. Giants ownership, like, for goodness gracious, he'd be the one person that it would be 95% and be like, I don't care. I'm Jerry. I'm excited for 2026. We're going to continue, guys. Like, I know that fantasy football has wound down. Not DFS.
That's
we
right.
got
Doesn't
plenty
stop.
of DFS. We may even, I've been thinking about, Joe, maybe we could do a best ball show as well next week, because the best ball tournaments for the playoffs are a lot of fun. A lot of different strategy to how you build your lineups. And obviously, again, we'll be building, DFS lineups all the way through. So we'll still have a wild card, divisional, conference, and even Super Bowl. And then I will be pivoting to golf, which I'm telling you guys, like, DFS golf is where it's at. While I feel like DFS, like, especially on DraftKings football, has gotten so much harder, like the scores that you need a majority of weeks to really do well. You can still cash with around the same number. It's the, like, when you have like 190 points, shit, 2 years ago, I was going to be like, yeah, let's get paid. Now it's like, if you're not over 200 or 200 points, like, you're basically right on again, like kind of that cash line where maybe you doubled your money or whatever. But the golf is where it's at. Actually excited to be bringing on a new co-host, a gentleman named Scott Porter, who's been a friend of mine forever. He works in the golf business, very smart guy. But like I said, me and Joe will still be here. So don't worry. We appreciate y'all that did hang out with us on Saturday. Be sure to check out fantasysixpack.net. My DFS main slate preview article is up there. And if you want to become a premium member, which is $7.50 a month with the promo code F6P, I think you can use the MLB one now. If not, you can use PGA. You can get like my cheat sheet, Dave Eddy, who is one of the best cash game players.
You want that cheat sheet. You want it.
He provides a lineup every week, which I think has cashed like a ridiculous, like 15 out of 17 weeks. So it's like, God, make me feel insecure, Dave.
I was going to say, my DraftKings account would have a different number in there.
Right.
Hit on 15, 17 weeks.
But we appreciate you, Joe. You're my boy. And we'll see you guys soon.